This is the next video in the series on shame. There's been a bit of a dialogue with David Schlussel about shame, which I've been really enjoying. And he points out that there's a difference between pain and suffering, and how suffering is the reaction to pain. It can be the reaction to pain. And I was thinking about I was noticing the feeling of shame that I have sometimes. And it's a feeling of, it's a reaction, it's an unconscious reaction that I have. And so it seems to me like shame is actually a form of suffering. It's one of the ways that we have aversion, unconsciously conditioned aversion to things. And it's an aversion which pushes away witnessing. So it says it's a cringing away from being witnessed or seen. So I have an understanding of the way that craving for things that aren't currently present and having aversion against things which are currently present leads to suffering. I have an awareness of that from doing Vipassana. And I know that becoming more aware of the craving and aversion, becoming more aware of the reaction, and then choosing to consciously not react to the sensation, to whatever the sensation is in the body, retrains the unconscious mind so that we then begin to more and more just not react. And so I can see that paying attention to and bringing awareness to the sensations, and also the cringing away from the sensations, can lead to shame being dispelled. And also another approach to resolving shame is to find someone who can witness, who can be a witness, an external witness, who isn't going to cringe away, who isn't going to have a shameful reaction to us. And then we can start to come out of shame by sharing, by being courageous and risking discovering that what we think is true, which is painful, is that we risk discovering that it's true. So for example, I might say that I'm ashamed of my nose, right? And there's some shame I have. And then I'm taking a risk, because everyone might say, yeah, your nose is really, really ugly and weird, and I'm repulsed by it, right? And then in effect that could increase my shame, because then I could internalize that and I could have even more shame about that thing or about that part of me. But what I found is, if you can find someone who isn't ashamed of something, and often people are not ashamed of the same things that we're ashamed of, and they often don't have, they're often quite, it seems like when you take the risk of revealing something, most of the time the thing that you reveal that you're ashamed of, the other person will actually say it's one of your best qualities, or one of the things they love about you. And what that gives you is an experience of a witness not pulling away or not having aversion to that part of you. And over time, that can be internalized, and that can start to retrain your own unconscious mind to not have that shame, that aversive reaction to whatever the sensation is in your body or in my body. So that's why sometimes it can be good to find a therapist, or have a good therapist, or a good coach, or maybe a partner, somebody who is validating and supportive, and who you feel like you have increasing experiences of sharing things that you're ashamed of, and discovering that they can actually see the beauty in the thing that you're ashamed of, and you can start to learn that a more adaptive way of responding to those aspects of yourself, and then you can also provide that to the other person. Often I might be ashamed of some things, and my partner might be ashamed of, my wife Cindy might be ashamed, she is ashamed of completely different things in herself. But also sometimes, even if you're both ashamed of the same thing or very similar things, you can still witness another person, because I don't know why, but you can witness with positive regard an aspect of someone else that you wouldn't be able to witness without having aversion in yourself.